It's Advent, you're getting into the mood for Christmas, you're starting to think about mulled wine and mince pies, and you've probably found yourself in a place where you're singing some of those really old songs that we call carols that feel really festive and get you in the mood, but a lot of the time are full of words that you might not be that familiar with and can be fairly difficult to understand. What I'm going to be doing over these 3 videos is talking through some of the more famous carols, explaining the biblical allusions that are in them, and just helping you know what it is you're singing when you're getting into the festive spirit. The first carol that we're going to be looking at is O Come, Emmanuel, which I guess is an Advent song of waiting and longing and hoping, where we put ourselves in the place of the people of Israel looking forward for the Messiah to come, and we think while we're doing that of Jesus' eventual return and long for it. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel. This word Emmanuel, it comes from Isaiah chapter 7, when the people of Israel are promised that the sign that God would intervene for them would be when a virgin gave birth and she named the child Emmanuel, which means God with us. So when a virgin gave birth to a child who turned out to be God. And in 1 Timothy chapter 2, we're told that Jesus came to ransom us. And the song refers to us as Israel because it's casting us back into the Old Testament people of God, but also using that in a kind of Romans chapter 11 sort of way, where the church is the true Israel, is the Israel of God, and putting us into the place of Moses and the people of God as they left Egypt, as they were led out of slavery, because it is a call for Jesus to come and lead us out of our slavery, both in the sense of saving us from our sin, but also in the long run, in the sense of coming and wrapping up history and renewing this broken world that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appear. So when we sing this, we're remembering how Israel waited in exile for God to come and rescue them and lead them out of it. We're remembering how we waited, even though we might not have been aware of it, in the exile of our sin, waiting for God to come and lead us out of it. And we're associating ourselves with that sense of waiting and longing, with the joy of looking forward to Christ's coming, but also the tears of living in a world where you have to, where you're living in exile, where you don't truly belong. Think of the theme running through 1 Peter of the people of God as a people in exile, where the places that we live in are not our eventual homes, they're not where we're citizens, but instead places that we dwell in for a little while, waiting for what is to come. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. This is, I guess, the repeated refrain of the song, where we are reminding ourselves to be full of joy because the one who is God with us, Jesus, has come and will come again in the future. I suppose perhaps this is unusual as a Christmas song. That's why I described it as an Advent song, because it has that minor key running throughout it. There's that note of pain and of longing that deals with the way that we often feel while living in the world, but yet points us forward to the one who is going to come and fix that in the future. O come, thou rod of Jesse, free thy people from Satan's tyranny. The song here is referring to Isaiah chapter 11, where it talks of Israel as a dead stump, the stump of Jesse, from whom life will spring. So when it looked like there would be no hope, because the tree stump looks like it's dead, new life will spring out of it. And that again, referring to Jesus, the one who will come and free us from the tyrannic reign of the enemy. And that has both happened decisively on the cross and in the resurrection, and is a thing again that we look forward to happening in the future, which is why the song is full of calling us to be full of joy, and yet the music has a slightly different tone to it. From depths of hell thy people save, and give them victory o'er the grave. And that freedom from tyranny, from the tyranny of Satan that Jesus will win for us, will include freedom from death itself. and freedom from the eventual punishment for our sin, freedom from everything. We will be truly free in a way that no other people ever has been. O come thou dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. In Luke chapter 1, Jesus is described as the dayspring. That's old-fashioned language to us, but it literally means the dawn. So as the first kind of note of light that you see in the morning, because we are to see the birth of Christ as the first note of light as God's kingdom begins to dawn on the world. The first note of light that something different is happening and that something is changing. And as we sing it, we're asking Jesus to cheer our spirits because of his coming. So to replace the natural pain that we feel living in the world with joy at knowing what is going to come in the future. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night and death's dark shadows put to flight. Jesus is the light of the world, as John calls him, and his light, as it dawns, that day spring, that first note of dawn, it will actually put all shadows to flight. It'll make them run away. That's what that means. That the light will be so strong that darkness itself will not just disappear, but will have to flee, or it will no longer exist. The coming of Jesus has and will change everything. O come, thou key of David, come, and open wide our heavenly home. In Isaiah chapter 22, Jesus is described or promised that he will come as the key of David, the one who will unlock the door that leads us into our heavenly home, the one who will make a way, open a way that was before closed and locked off to us, so that we move not just out of tyranny, not just into freedom, but into a new home, and that we can look forward to the fact that at his second advent, we will find ourselves in that heavenly home. Make safe the way that leads on high and close the path to misery. And that path that he opens for us, he makes safe. He makes the end sure before the beginning, so that we know as we start on it, we're going to get there. So we're singing not just that we hope Jesus is going to come, but that it's a done deal, that we know that the end is done. And that's why we can call ourselves to rejoice, because it's certain and it's sure. O come, O Lord of might, who to thy tribes on Sinai's height, in ancient times didst give the law, in cloud and majesty and awe. And so as the song closes out, it reminds us that the same God who brought the law on Sinai in great power and in might with clouds and glory, Yahweh, is the same one who is Emmanuel, the one who comes and is born as a babe. That the New Testament is not a sharp turn away from the Old Testament, but the conclusion of it, the completion of it. It's finished and expected goal. That the same God who is strong and mighty and made all things is the one who comes in weakness in order to lead us from our weakness into his strength. And so as you sing this song, try to hold some of that in your head. Try to remember what it is that you're singing about. This song of longing and of trying to tell ourselves to remember joy because of what will come in the future. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel.